Oh, there we go. Grrrr. Greetings, humans. Greetings, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode. Bear here, 29-year veteran of the woods, and today... Oh, let me turn off the freaking fan here for crying out loud. There we go. Now you can hear me without not being windy. There we are. One of these days, we will actually do a professional show, but not today. It's not in the weeds for today just yet. So, hello everybody. Good to have everyone back here. Just getting done celebrating the new year and enjoying and trying to figure out this crazy 2022 and what it has in store for us. The last couple, ever since that ill-fated 2020. It's been, you're kind of like the cat, in the poster, it's just, like, barely hanging on there. It's a little bit like that. Like, what is the thing? Hang in there, or hang in there, kid, or something like that. There we go. That's kind of the theme here for 2022. So, good to have everybody here. Let's go ahead, let's get right on into it. We don't have a lot of time to gibber nor jabber here. One of the reasons why is because the old sports ball, Bears' favorite team here, the Tampa Bay Lightning, are playing right now. Of course, they're playing in their black uniforms for some reason. Always terrible. So that's all right. Bear will leave them to do their thing and do the show here for you, good people. All right, let's get right on into it because there's some actually important stuff going on in the world today that you people need to know about. That's right. I'm talking about Norway here. Let's see, who is this? Euronews. Euronews.com. Norwegian conscripts asked to return underwear due to supply shortages. Ooh. Norwegian conscripts will now have to return their pants, bras, and socks at the end of their military service as the Norwegian army is experiencing stock problems, a public broadcaster NRK reported on Friday. Until recently, it was customary for demobilized conscripts to leave their garrisons with the underwear that they had been using during the service in the army. But the Wu flu pandemic has seriously complicated the flow of supplies, leading the Norwegian army last year to invite conscripts to hand over the most intimate items in their kit to their successors. The decision to reuse this part of the kit will help us have more volume in circulation and increase the delivery capacity of the equipment. We have too little in stock. And too little socks as well. Army logistics spokesman Hans Meisergetz explained. Yes, indeed. He says the linen is washed, cleaned, and checked. What we distribute is in good condition. Quote unquote, good condition. There you go. There you go. Good to see you there, P-Money. Good to see you there. We're having a little bit of fun here with our brand new news story of the day. Yes, indeed. All right. Actually, what we normally do here is do some campaign updates, but really, there's only been I think there's only been a couple of campaign updates here recently here, so not really much to talk about. They had the Expendables. Finally, I think they're finally going to be starting to ship out some of that stuff. We'll talk about that in just a moment here, but they're finally getting the finally getting the I think it's the signed your boy Zach versions, and then they still got to work on the Stallone version there as well. So, anyways, let's get right on into. Pardon me here. Get right on into that. Let's get rid of that and do the thing where you do the thing. There we go. There we go. So, Bear actually over the past a couple days ago actually finally got around to checking out the Expendables. So we're going to do a sort of mini review, I guess, of the Expendables. Kind of interesting. Let's see. Did they have to wash the underwear before returning it? P-Money asking the important questions of the day. The spokesman said that they cleaned them, so one would hope, but you never know. You never know. All right, let's get into a little bit of the Expendables here. I had it for a little while, so hopefully, except for all the people waiting for their signatures, hopefully they everybody's got to check it out, so Bear's not going to be doing any spoilers or anything like that. Really liked this cover here. Bear ended up getting, I believe it was the Billy Tucci one. It was Sly Stallone and for whatever reason, I don't know why Audie Lang was in, or excuse me, Audie Lang. Audie Murphy was in hell. I don't know why. I don't know why. Why is he in hell? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so that was the cover that Bear got. But I really like this cover. This is kind of a really neat little cover here with some great colors in there as well. But let's go ahead. Let's just get right on into the review here. So let me click off of this. And Beer doesn't have. He got this from the other time. Haven't scanned any of the images in, so you're not going to see any dialogue or anything like that. But pretty close representation of what the book looks like, minus some lettering and some other things there. But anyways, starts off the Expendables. They're out there doing their expendable business out there. And oh, hey Jeff, good to see you here. They're doing their expendable business, and all of a sudden, bad things happen. And Stallone wakes up in hell. Oh my goodness! I mean, that's a terrible way to wake up. So, anyways, he picks up Audie Murphy for some reason, and the kind of theme is they're battling. They're going to be doing a very big battle and trying to. I don't know, wage war against the devil. So apparently you have some good people in hell and some bad people in hell, and so they're fighting each other, and they're trying to get to Hill 666 to defeat Lucifer, and I'm not really sure what the plan was after that. It was just, yeah, let's go up here and defeat. Well, they do defeat Hitler, but also Satan as well. Kind of, half a dozen one, six the other. But yeah, anyway, so they end up in hell with Audie Murphy there, and are battling it out. And one of the very interesting things there was it goes through a couple different art styles. So you have a number of people that are drawing this. I think it was, oh gosh, I should have written this down. I think this is Aaron Alfeche, if I'm not mistaken. I correct Bear if he's wrong here, but I think it was Alfeche here that was doing the drawings, but it kind of goes in between some styles. I remember Kelsey Shannon was one. Let's see, I think it was Butch Geist was another one. There was I think one or two other ones that they kind of changed some of the art styles with. So no explanation. It just kind of goes from one page to another. It kind of depends on how you kind of feel about that, but it's kind of interesting way of showing. There's a number of different characters as far as the Expendables go. It mainly follows Stallone, but they've got some of the other characters here as well that it kind of follows. So, I think the Kelsey Shannon one was. Pardon me, I can't remember the character's name, but the Jason Statham character kind of follows him as his kind of struggles through hell, and kind of meeting back up with the rest of the gang there. A couple of other ones as well. Dolph Lundgren, I think that was the Butch Geist one. They're driving around in a Ford Mustang. Why there's a Ford Mustang in hell? You'd figure it would be like the 80s Mustang or something like that. Not one of the classic Mustangs. You'd figure cars in hell, there it is. There's the classic Mustang there. You'd figure cars in hell, they would have like a Yugo, maybe like a PT Cruiser or something like that. I'm not really sure why they have a Mustang in hell, other than it's a bad arse car, as it were. So, let's see. P Money. I finally got a Brutus update. They said that they should have International done by July. Holy moly. Holy moly. Yeah, it says woohoo. Let's see. P-Money also says, I think waking up falling out of a bed was bad, but Stallone has me beat. Yes, indeed. Jeff asked if he fell out of bed. Yeah, just last week. Alright, so anyways, Dolph Lundgren jumps out of the... This just kind of shows you kind of what this sort of story is about. Dolph Lundgren jumps out of the Mustang and tackles one of the flying horses and takes off into the wilderness until I guess the horse starts to get a little uppity, and then he beheads the flying horse, and falls down through some a ceiling somewhere and starts to fight demons. That's the kind of story this is. Um, so let me get off. Let me do the other one here. There he goes. There's the Valkyries that Dolph Lundgren's going to jump off of, and there's Jason. So they have a number of the different Expendables characters there. I'm sorry, I don't remember the characters' names there, but anyways, got a number of the characters there. This is the Kelsey Shannon artwork that he had. I think nothing against the main artist there, but man, I always wish Kelsey would do more stuff, but the stuff that he did in this book actually looked really good. I kind of wish the entire book kind of looked like that. Some of the colors were, they were fine. They just sometimes were a little bit flat and stuff like that. So you have, I don't know, German Stuka bombers trying to take out a Ford Mustang in hell. It's one of those stories. They probably spent a good, probably quarter, maybe half of the budget just on a mound of cocaine that they. I'm joking, of course, but it's kind of an interesting, a very interesting story to kind of get through here. Let's see. I think the best thing to kind of say about it is that it's very representative of where we want to go with either independent comics or Comicsgate. I'm not really sure where your boy Zach kind of stands on some of that stuff, but a really good thing that you're getting. Not only people like Stallone, but I would imagine you need people's like Jason Statham here. You need his likeness, so I'm assuming that they got the other actors to sign off on having their likeness done in the comic book here. So uh, I think that's a good thing. You're getting more and more people in. I wish that it would have drawn a little bit more of kind of an audience there, but I think it made, if I'm not mistaken, 250,000, something like that. So they did pretty good. A number of people were projecting like $1 million. I don't know if it would have done that well, but he did pretty good with it. But the biggest thing is being able to draw some of these bigger names in to the realm, to the Comicsgate realm, as it were. There, so aside from anything else, I think just the book, just that it was able to do some of that stuff. We're having Sly Stallone sign the comic book, so I think just that in and of itself is a success. No matter what you think about the book or what you think about the story or anything like that. Um, Bear's opinion is it's a little bit kind of like well, if you like the Expendables series, if you're a big fan of this series, I think they've got three movies out for it. Bear's seen the first one, and it's been a while ago. So, if you're a fan of this series, I would say, yeah, this is a great companion piece that would kind of go along with it. Maybe a little table item, to kind of conversation piece, that sort of deal. It's kind of interesting. At the same time, it's also very, you know, it's very unique. It's very unique. It kind of switches between very theological stuff. It's not a very theological book, but they are, obviously talking about good and evil, that sort of deal. So they got some of that stuff in there. It kind of changes tone a little bit along the line. I'm not sure if that's too many cooks in the kitchen trying to write some of the stuff. I mean, they've got, let's see, it's your boy Zach, Sly Stallone. I think he just did the story, though. Chuck Dixon, Dix out for Dixon, and I'm not sure. I think there was a fourth writer in there as well. I could be wrong, but yeah, it seemed to kind of switch back and forth. Some of the stuff didn't have enough setup as it needed to have, but I think it was fine. The only thing that Bear would kind of complain about is sort of the ending. Um, it's one of those things where you have a very outlandish concept to begin with, so how do you resolve? In other words, okay, the Expendables die and go to hell. Well, that pretty well precludes any new movies out. So obviously they need to. Spoiler alert! Sorry, everybody. They need to bring the characters back, but the way that they did that was kind of. It was one of these sort of. It was all a dream, but it wasn't all a dream because everybody remembered it. But they were all kind of freaked out at the end, except for Dolph Lundgren. He wanted to go back, I guess, chop off more horses' heads. Um, So the ending was kind of a little bit weird, but other than that, it's a fine story. I mean, you know, it's an interesting concept. So they take the concept to the nth degree. They're fighting like Genghis Khan and good old Adolf there and Saddam Hussein and a number of other people. Benedict Arnold is apparently on the good people's side. I don't know. Let's see, who was it? Ulysses S. Grant was in there for some reason. I don't know why. Audie Murphy as well. So, kind of interesting on those aspects. But yeah, other than maybe some of the hiccups in the campaign and some of the delivery hiccups. I think it was supposed to come out a little while back, and it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And so, you know, people have kind of, you know, a bad taste in their mouth as far as that's concerned. But other than that, I think it's a good book. I think it's a marker book as far as Comicsgate goes, as far as kind of bringing in more bigger names in the sort of Hollywood realm. I think that's a great idea. We were talking, I think it was the last time, it might have been the time before, um, bringing or trying to do movies, trying to do like an independent thing. So this really kind of helps shine a spotlight on the Comicsgate world. So you know, people out there that have really great ideas as far as, you know, maybe they might have a movie idea but you can't afford it or do something like that. Well, hey, go ahead, go out and make a comic book, and you know, might be spotted by Sly Stallone or something like that, and maybe they might want to make a movie out of it. So I think that generally thing, it's great. I think what they did was a great thing. The campaign being laid, some of the other stuff. Um, you know, the ending was a little bit weird, but I think it's fine. Other than that, um, probably a sort of a good solid B. I guess I would say a good solid B. I think again, if you're not a huge Expendables fan, it's a good book. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The people that are gonna get the most enjoyment out of it is the Expendables folks out there. So if you're a fan of that, or if you know somebody that's a fan, I'd probably cue them into what's going on here. Let me go back to the pretty cool cover here. I like that. I like that cover. Pretty neat. All right. Let's see. P Money asks if a plane crashes, the plane goes to hell too. They explain it in the book as far as it's just like a never-ending battle. So essentially, you die in hell. You're already dead, but you're in hell and you die in hell again. Um, you basically kind of come back, kind of like a what's the movie Groundhog's Day, kind of like that, where you kind of come back and repeat the same thing over and over again. So the sort of through line for the book here is that they're trying to break that spell, as it were. But again, spoiler alert: they get to the devil, and they have the, I'm trying to remember the name of it, the spear that the Roman soldier used on Christ when he's up there on the cross there. The spear is something or another, spear of Nazareth or something like that. I forget. Anyways, so Stallone has that, and that's kind of their key to sort of defeating some of the demons. And then they grab all the guys come around and grab the spear, so to speak, and then they go back, and then, you know, it was all a dream, that sort of deal. So that's kind of how they handle death in the sort of story here. Um, kind of interesting, but yeah, I mean, I don't. You've got a great concept, but at the same time, you've got to kind of return it back to its original place because you can't throw out the movies or anything like that. So you know, you had to kind of compromise on some of that stuff. But other than that, it's not bad. Not bad. All right, let's see. Are you sure your wife didn't push you? Oh my goodness. Oh, out of bed. Out of bed. Okay. It must have been a hell of a plane. But Dolph Lundgren wanted to go back to hell. It makes sense. Ivan Drago. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wanted to take out more people. Spoiler alert. Dolph Lundgren. He. Oops. Ah, dang it! It's my heater. Hold on. Dolph Lundgren, he double crosses the devil, so that would be kind of interesting going back after you double cross the devil. Maybe he wants to be Lucifer himself. You never know. So, anyways, it was kind of interesting where all the other characters were like, "Oh, it's just a dream. I don't know, whatever." And Dolph Lundgren's like, "Yeah, I want to go back right now, rah!" That sort of deal. So, a good book, a good book. Again, more the concept and more just kind of the sort of marker that it kind of leaves down as far as hey, let's maybe get some more of these Hollywood people in there and see if that does well, something like that. So there we go. That's kind of pretty much the long and the short of the Expendables out here. So there we go. Let's see. There I am. There's the thumbnail. All right, let me get beer with beer here because we're going to talk about everybody's favorite topic of all time. We're talking about the whole NFT stuff. So again, this kind of started as kind of a lark. This is just kind of something that Bear was kind of mentioning off topic, having to deal with Mike Miller and all the stuff that he was kind of going through and everything. Ended up, Bear started to look more and more into it, much like our Wu flu vaccine. And anyways, kind of coming to the opposite conclusion that some of the other people have. Not that it's a bad thing, but that I think a lot of people misunderstand what's taking place and what's going on. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. There's way more than what Bear wants to talk about, so I'm going to try and leave some of these links in the description after we get done with the video here. So, anyways, Kazakhstan, everybody's favorite vacation destination. Kazakhstan internet shutdown. Deal blow to the global Bitcoin mining operation. Forget about what the people want and their situation. What about the Bitcoin mining operation? All right, so there they are. It looks slightly worse, just slightly worse than what happened at the Capitol last year. So just slightly worse. That's all. Let's see. Bitcoin took a hit Thursday, and apparently it took a hit like, was it today or yesterday or something like that? Bear kind of was coming up with some of these stories, and then find out that the Bitcoin just much like a submarine coming across a destroyer picket. It's like flood the bell pays, dive, that sort of deal. So it took a nosedive, but that's right. We're not really following the price of any of this stuff. That's not the indication where Bear's kind of coming from. It's more kind of what is the utility out of this, and is people putting more money in than what the utility is that kind of comes out. So let's see. Just very quickly, we'll get into it. Let's see. The Central Asian nation in recent days have been rocked by violent clashes, mostly peaceful, between protesters, police, and the army. The protests began in the west of the country, blah, 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 and the internet was shut down nationwide on Wednesday. And though the intent appears to be to disrupt the protesters' communications, the effects of the blackout have spread further. Kazakhstan is a... Did you know that Kazakhstan is a power player in the Bitcoin world? Yes, that's right. Last year, the nation became the world's second largest center for Bitcoin mining after the U.S. Holy cow. According to Cambridge Center, blah, blah, blah. After China, a major hub, clamped down on crypto mining activity. As of August, Kazakhstan was hosting 18% of global Bitcoin mining. Within hours of the outage, Bitcoin's computational power sank. Oh no. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are created, or quote-unquote mined, by high-powered computers, usually at data centers in different parts of the world, that compete to solve complex mathematical puzzles in highly energy-intensive process. Blah, blah, blah. So it goes on. It just kind of takes you down what's going on in Kazakhstan. Of course, coal. Good old coal is the main source of power in Kazakhstan for all those crypto mining farms. So there you go. And of course, they're mostly aging coal plants. So if you're buying Bitcoin, you're technically killing the planet. You are killing the planet, and you know what Bear has to say about that. So All right, all right. Oh, Jeff Potts got to go. Hey, good to have you here, Jeff Potts. Hope to have you back again, and good to have you here. Let's see. I guess I'd rather talk about NFTs than poor sushi. Oh, sorry, but it's been 8 days in 2022 without mentioning sushi before somebody needed to. There you go. There you go. Well, P Money is keeping sushi in his hearts and prayers. A bear just keeps sushi in his stomach. So there you go. All right. Well, let's move on here. Let's try and move on here from all of that. So the next one, all my apes are gone. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So hopefully, P Money isn't forlorn about that. There we go. All my apes are gone. NFT theft victim begs for centralized savers. Now, one of the things, I guess, let me back up for just a second, because we're trying to do kind of an overview, kind of 10,000 foot look. We're not trying to do, the sort of ups and downs and everyday's fluctuations, that sort of deal. So one of the things that Bear would say, by the way, oh, I'm sorry that Jeff already left, but anytime that, let's see, Mike or Doug Tenaple or any of these crypto people out there and the dolphin squeakers out there, anybody wants to debate Bear on the merits of any of that, Bear is more than welcome. You name your place and your time, he'll try and be there. He'll try and be there. Anyway, so kind of the sort of central theme that Bear kind of talks about here is maybe kind of a three-legged stool, as it were. So if you take out one of the legs, the stool falls over. So as far as let's just call it blockchain. Let's just call it the blockchain technology. Some people call it Web 3.0, whatever. So you've got three different things. Let's just say you're trying to use it as a currency. So we're going to compare it to, let's just say, a gold coin. You go down to the store and you hand somebody a gold coin. Oh, okay, well that's worth so and so, and here's your change, whatever, and here's what you bought for. All right, so your sort of digital blockchain currency is a little bit different. First off, you need electricity. And much like our Kazakhstan friends have learned, you need the internet. So if your nation state of choice, as it were, happens to go out and cut the internet, well, you can't access your Bitcoin, can you? And you can't access it without electricity. Well, the third thing that Bear would say would be also cryptography. Or in this case, what they're talking about is centralization versus decentralization. Okay, so that's kind of the sort of rubric that Bear kind of puts around this crazy frothy space as far as the NFTs and Bitcoin and all that sort of stuff. All right, so all his apes are gone. The NFT art heist, and digital wallet hacks, and token scams will continue until morale improves. I don't normally. One of the things that Bear tries to do is pick different sites that it's not all along the same line. So we're getting this through Vice. Not the greatest people in the world, but there you go. Vice and Motherboards. There you go. Let's see. Edward Ogonzo Jr. Let's see. On the eve of the new year, tragedy struck in Manhattan. Chelsea Art Gallery owner Todd Kramer had about $2.3 million worth of NFTs, primarily Bored Ape and Mutant Ape, stolen by scammers and listed on the peer-to-peer, not quite, we'll get into that in just a minute, a peer-to-peer NFT marketplace, OpenSea. I think some of the people that have been around have heard about OpenSea here, so we're going to be talking about that. Kramer quickly took to Twitter and begged for help from OpenSea and the NFT community for help regaining his NFTs, his digital monkeys. Unsurprisingly, he was ripped to shreds by others in the community for not storing his valuable JPEG monkeys in an offline wallet. However, OpenSea froze the trading of the stolen NFTs on its platform. Wait a minute. Hold on just a second. I thought it was decentralized. How can OpenSea do that? Well, we go on. More than a few commenters pointed out that OpenSea intervention here, and especially Kramer's pleas for a centralized response, seem to go against a key tenet in the industry that often bumps up against usability. The idea that code is law. And once your tokens are in someone else's digital wallet, that's the end of the game. 90%, what is it? Possession is 90% of the law. Well, OpenSea did not actually reverse the transaction on the blockchain. It did block the stolen NFT sale on its own platform, which is the most popular market for NFTs. There you go. There you go. Oh, hey there, Bianca. Actually, I was just thinking about that. I heard your video earlier here. And, I hear what you're saying on there, but at the same time, we're taking a little bit larger. Actually, kind of what you were talking about. A little bit, kind of a 10,000-foot look at some of this stuff. We take theft seriously and have policies in place to meet our obligations to the community and deter theft on our platform. We do not have the power to freeze or delist NFTs that exist on these blockchains. Oh, but they do. We'll get to that in just a moment. However, we do have the ability to use OpenSea to buy or sell stolen items. We've prioritized building security tools, no they haven't, and process to combat theft on OpenSea, and we're actively expanding our efforts across customer support, trust, and safety. Oh, that's a good one. And site integrity, so we can move faster to protect and empower users, says, I'm assuming somebody there at OpenSea there. At OpenSea. OpenSea did not answer, however, why it had frozen the trading of these NFTs, and not others stolen just weeks ago that were announced on Twitter by Bored Ape Yacht Club and Jungle Freak NFT owners. OpenSea's intervention, why they do happen, leaves some users in the lurch. For example, another Twitter recounted in a viral post how they unwittingly purchased a stolen NFT on OpenSea for 1.5 ETH, around $5,000, or if you waited till today, you could have got it at a discount, only to have it frozen. OpenSea wasn't quick to help them out, they said, although it's unclear what the company could really do at that point, and the NFT project Alien Fiends reimbursed them at least 1 ETH, so they only lost, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000. Somebody else do the math. Anyway, so we're talking a little bit here about OpenSea and its sort of place in the wider community. Okay, so one of the things that we're talking about here with a lot of it is called a DeFi or decentralization. Uh, what you're trying to do is do a peer-to-peer. So in other words, if somebody wanted to send Bear some bitcoins, so we could finally get some of that delicious salmon, they could do that. Basically, one peer to another. It goes direct instead of, let's just say, for example, you wanted to let's say send money. Overseas or across the country or something like that, you might go to like a Western Union. So you go to Western Union, you would pay them a certain amount to be able to transfer that money over, and then it would get into another spot. But what happens is the Western Union is sort of centralized. So kind of the same thing what's happened here with OpenSea. The idea behind all of this stuff is it's supposed to be direct, peer-to-peer. In this case, it's going from a peer to a centralized server and then back to the peer, which kind of negates the whole purpose behind decentralization of everything. So we will go on. Here. Let's see. Let's see. P Money says, you mean there's no NFT bank I can store my valuables? No, unfortunately, there's not. So we got another one. Trying to again explain some of this stuff. So we've got this gentleman here, Kobe. You can check it out on his Substack here, Kobe, Substack.com. Again, we're trying to use a little bit different stuff. So this gentleman here, probably a little bit more on the sort of, I don't want to claim anything here, but probably a little bit more on the Marxist side of the thought process than anybody else. But we're trying to use both sides and figure out where the middle is. So he says Web3 has been a very fashionable term this year, mostly for the alt-finance cartoon characters and the world's ultra-sophisticated Twitter thread authors. It was one of the 2 cheat code phrases that you could use in 2021 to bypass the critical thinking of LPs when raising your first ever fund, with the other being the metaverse. There we go. Congrats, you now have $1 billion to deploy because you learned the trendy words and you went to a good school. There you go. Bear did not go through either of those. And despite the deluge of distinguished think pieces issued by the domain of the day, nobody really agrees what Web 3, or Bear calls it Web 3.0, actually even is. And depending on which tribe you belong to, Web 3.0 is a scam, side bear up for that. Web 3 is the future? Web 3 is tokenizing the world. Web 3 is VC, venture capitalist exit liquidity. Ding, ding, ding. Web 3 is just another name for crypto. You get the idea. Even the crypto community can't make up their mind on whether Bitcoin is Web 3.0. So there you go. You got a couple different Twitter polls. Not really sure who this Brantley is, but that's all right. If nobody else really agrees on Web 3, and the only term only really rose into a buzzword circulation over the last half of year, I think it's fair to conclude that Web 3 doesn't really exist yet. Let's see. And yet there's clearly, there's a lot of ideas and experiments circulating on converging topics that are inciting inspiration, creativity, or outright dismay amongst users. So I'm not going to get it too far into it. You guys can kind of read some of this stuff yourself, but I just want to hit something very quickly here. What's the point of Web3? In an attempt to avoid embracing this dispute's futility, instead it might be more useful to think about Web3 could be. Do we even need to move on from Web 2? And what is Web 3 solving? So he says basically decentralization of power and also ownership of the value. And he kind of goes into basically kind of like what we're doing here. So Bear is creating content for YouTube, but YouTube is monetizing that, and Bear really doesn't get anything out of it other than, if he had a book to sell or, maybe a subscription or something like that. So they're trying to change that back to more of from a centralized thing. I think of something like Facebook to a decentralized, think of just, your contact list in your phone. You go direct, one to one. You're going peer to peer rather than going through, for example, Facebook or something like that. So that's this gentleman's kind of point here. You can kind of check it out and the ponzification of everything. So you can kind of see what he's kind of going for and talking about there. Interesting topic. It gets a little bit more into some of the stuff that Bear's not going to get into today, but definitely check it out. Again, a little bit more on the sort of Marxist side of things here. Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for. So he's kind of breaks it down into 4 things that he kind of views as true. That there's consensus that founders that are getting rich when they create huge value in the world is deserved and expected. Sure, not a problem. There is rough consensus that venture capitalists or angel investors that fund something early are providing a service and should be rewarded for that when they are funded and it creates huge value in the world. Yeah, not a problem. If you start off with a really good idea, hey, sending books through the internet, that might be a good idea. And then, after a couple of years, all of a sudden Amazon blows up and, hey, you made a whole lot of money. Congratulations. You did it really good there. Number 3, many people believe these funding opportunities should be open and fairer, rejecting existing accredited investor rules and excessively parental or counterintuitive. He was going through a lot of this in the main body. Again, a little bit more kind of a power to the people, as it were. So, again, anyways, everybody absolutely hates it when founders or VC get rich from something that does not contribute value to the world in any way. So that's kind of where Bear kind of comes in, as far as, okay, you're spending $500,000 on a JPEG monkey. What is the value of that? Again, Bear's not discounting it's not absolutely zero value into it, but, setting the art aside for just a second, just what is the value of the blockchain that you're putting, let's just say, a contract on or something like that? Is it really worth $250,000 or $500,000 when you can do a contract based on the internet already, and it doesn't cost nearly that amount. So, is the value proposition of what we're doing as far as the crypto space, is it overvalued as far as what's going on? Beer would say yes. The past couple days kind of indicate that, where it's kind of come down a little bit. So, all right, let's get actually into an actual what you would be doing on Web 3.0. How that ecosystem would work here. So we've got a place called moxie.org. Check it out, pretty good stuff. A gentleman is a sort of computer science sort of gentleman here, does a bunch of that sort of stuff. So what he's doing is going through some of the he's going through Web 1.0 and 2.0 and then 3.0, and kind of making the point that the entire Web 3.0 is actually based in Web 2.0. And so everybody that's trying to do it in this brand new space is relying on stuff from the previous version. So you have people that are trying to do stuff that are decentralized, that are not realizing that a number of things that they're doing actually are centralized. And we've talked a little bit about that in the past, but this one kind of really breaks it down pretty good here. So let me grab something to drink. There we go. And of course, the our good Russian bots are out. It's good to have our Russian friends out there. It's nice to have you guys here. We do appreciate everything. But unfortunately, sir, I think that is I think we're doing some spamming here. So if you do have something to say, just go ahead and say it here. But otherwise, I'm going to have to remove this comment here. And actually, if P Money's still here, let me do this. P Money, you deserved it here. You deserved it. You are now a moderator. Congratulations, sir. All right. So, anyways, let's get back to what we were talking about here. What we were talking about here is how to think about Web 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Web 3 is somewhat ambiguous term, which makes it difficult to rigorously evaluate what the ambitions for Web 3.0 should be. But the general thesis seems to be that Web 1 was decentralized, okay? Web 2 centralized everything into platforms, okay? So, for example, Web 1, although there really wasn't that much video at the time, Web 1 would be you had your own website and you were putting up your own videos, and people would come by and click on the website and, find your videos and watch it. Web 2 would be an example of YouTube. So you have, instead of your own website, you put your videos up on YouTube, where it's a centralized place where everybody can kind of come check it out. Web 3 is going to, where was it here? Web 3 will decentralize everything again, and it should give us the richness of Web 2, but decentralized. So that's kind of the thought behind everything here. So a Canadian, a Russian bot, and an American bear walk into a bar. There you go. I'm sure that's a good joke somewhere. Let's see. I'm not gonna go through everything here. I'm just gonna hit the high points here. Is what he's talking about. And drinking too much. People don't want to run their own servers and never will. So the kind of thought behind this again is peer-to-peer decentralization. So what you need to have is a complete server setup for everything to be able to do that. 99.9% of the people that are doing this stuff they're not going to be doing that. They're going to be doing it through, you've probably seen Mike Miller do it through his web browser, or even through the mobile device there. So they're running through those two things rather than a personal server that they have in their house that's running everything that way. Okay? Let's see. Number 2, a protocol moves much more slowly than a platform. And he kind of gives this example after 30 plus years. Email is still unencrypted. Meanwhile, WhatsApp went from unencrypted to full end-to-end encryption within a year. People are still trying to standardize sharing a video reliably over IRC. Meanwhile, Slack lets you create a custom reaction emoji based on your face. In other words, uh, if you stay in place for too long with a bit of technology, the world is going to move on without you. And now, after a couple of years, you actually have a piece of. It might have been the most complete, up to date thing at one point, but time has moved on, and now it's not. It's not. Well, he says when the technology itself is more conductive to a stasis than movement, that's a problem. Sure, recipe for success has been to take a 90s protocol that was stuck in time, centralize it, and iterate it quickly. That would be, the log 4 situation. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. But Web 3 intends to be different, so let's take a look in order to get a quick feeling. Okay. Let's see. So what he did is he made some apps on the I think he did it on Ethereum. I think he did it on Ethereum, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so he's making some stuff. He's called it made a D app called First Derivative that allows you to create, discover, and exchange NFT derivatives which track an underlying NFT, similar to financial derivatives which track an underlying asset. So he's just basically created a program that will run on quote unquote Web 3.0. Just to be able to kind of play around and see how it works and all that sort of thing. So, okay, so he did that, and I thought I underlined some of this stuff. 1 second. 1 second. I guess I did I not? I did not. I did not. All right. So, anyways, pardon me. I'm trying to find where to pick up here. All right. Well, we can kind of jump over some of that stuff. Okay. So he went to go make an NFT for himself here. Okay. So let's follow along with this because this is kind of important here. So let's. I just told my wife I'm a moderator on Bear's channel. There we go. She responded, "Does the moderator have to find salmon for Bear?" Yes. Thank you very much, Mrs. P Money. Yes, indeed. I hadn't thought of that responsibility. With great responsibility becomes great something. I don't know. Great salmon. With great responsibility, you have a responsibility for great salmon. There we go. I think that's good. All right. Anyways, getting long in the tooth here. Making an NFT. I also wanted to create a more traditional NFT. So he kind of did the higher end stuff, and now he's kind of coming back to the NFT. Just doing a simple JPEG monkey, as it were. Most people think of images and digital art when they think of NFTs. But NFTs generally, here's the important point, NFTs generally do not store data on the chain. For most NFTs, of most images, that would be much too expensive. Instead of storing data on the chain, NFTs instead contain a URL that points to the data. And we've talked about that in the past. What surprised me about these standards was that there is no hash commitment for the data located at the URL, in other words, the website, the web page. Looking at many of the NFTs on popular marketplaces being sold for tens, hundreds, or millions of dollars, crazy people, that URL just points to some VPS running Apache software somewhere. Anyone with access to that machine, anyone who buys that domain name in the future, or anyone who compromises that machine, listen up people, can change the image, title, description, etc. for the NFT to whatever they'd like at the time, regardless of whether or not they own, quote unquote, the token. There's nothing in the NFT spec that tells you what the image should be, or even allows you to confirm whether something is the correct image, which kind of blows the whole thing wide open, boys, because the kind of premise behind the NFTs is you're getting a very unique, or the very, let's just say, the very first of something. Well, what happens when you can't prove that? Well, then your value will go down. Okay. So what he did was he did kind of a experiment here. Grab something to drink. Let's see. So as an experiment, I made an NFT that changes based on who's looking at it. Since the web server that serves the image can choose to serve different images based on the IP or user agreement of the requester. So he's sending it off to different places for people to kind of check out. For example, it looked one way on OpenSea, another way on Rarible, but when you buy it and view it in your crypto wallet, it will always display an image of a large poop emoji. What you bid on isn't what you get. There's nothing unusual about this NFT, it's how the NFT specifications are built. Many of the highest priced NFTs could turn into a poop emoji at any time. I just made it explicit. After a few days, without warning or explanation, the NFT I made was removed. Let me get it there. Removed from OpenSea. You see the thing that he gets there. The takedown suggests that I violated some terms of service, but after reading the terms, I don't see that any prohibit an NFT which changes based on where it's being looked at from. And I was openly describing it that way, so it wasn't like he was trying to trick anybody. What I found most interesting, though, listen up, people, listen up, this is important, is that after OpenSea removed my NFT, it also no longer appeared in any crypto wallet on my device. Okay? This is Web 3.0, people. Though how is that possible? Question mark, question mark, question mark. A crypto wallet like MetaMask, Rainbow, etc., is non-custodial. The keys are kept on the client side, but it has the same problems as many of my D apps above. Oh, I guess I should run through some of that stuff. The wallet, I can run through it here. The wallet has to run on a mobile device or in your browser. Meanwhile, Ethereum and other blockchains have been designed with the idea that it's a network of peers, but it's not designed such that it's really possible for your mobile device or your browser to be one of those peers. So you need something like this MetaMask or one of these other wallet stuff that's out there. A wallet like MetaMask needs to do basic things, like display your balance, your recent transactions, and your NFTs, as well as more complex things like constructing transactions, interacting with small contacts. In short, MetaMask needs to interact with the blockchain, but the blockchain has been built such that clients like MetaMask can't interact with it. So, like my D app, MetaMask accomplishes this by making API calls to the three companies that had consolidated in this space. And let me just go find that real quick because I skipped over it. I skipped over it. Anyways, basically what he was saying is there's really only three, I think, maybe four places on the internet where you can do that sort of stuff. So everything that they talk about as far as decentralization has been centralized in like 3 or 4 different locations. Okay, so he's showing the basic code here, what he's doing. I'm not gonna go through everything, but basically what it's doing is it's directing it towards a web page on a server somewhere. And he's doing it for different ones, MetaMask or some of the other ones, OpenSea, that sort of deal. Again, like with my D app, these responses are not authenticated in some way. They're not even signed so that you could later prove that they are lying. It reuses the same connections, TLS, season tickets, etc., for all the accounts in your wallet. So if you're managing multiple accounts in your wallet to maintain some identity separations, those companies know they're linked. MetaMask doesn't actually do much. It's just a view into data provided by these centralized APIs. It's not a problem specific to MetaMask, Rainbow, etc. They're all set up in the same way. Okay. And he goes on, kind of talks about some of the differences there. All this means that is that if your NFT is removed, listen up, people, is removed from OpenSea, it also disappears from your wallet. It doesn't functionally matter that my NFT, now he did it the right way. It doesn't matter that his NFT is indelibly on the blockchain somewhere, so he did put it on there, because the wallets and increasingly everything else in the ecosystem is just using the OpenSea API to display the NFTs, which began returning a 304 no content for the query of NFT owned by my address. So there you go. The guy created an NFT and it ran afoul of our friends over there at OpenSea, and they literally stole it out of his wallet. Now, people, please tell me how all this decentralization, oh, is just the greatest thing ever, and this is just going to be the future of everything. Um, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. He is talking about the gold rush. I think that's great. Um, I actually might come back to some of this stuff because he does make some really great points here. But let's see. Well, I'll just end it on what he ends it on here. So he says if he wants to change our relationship with technology, I think we'd have to do it intentionally. My basic thoughts are roughly: we should accept the premise that people, pardon me, will not run their pardon me here, will not run their own servers by designing systems that can distribute trust without having to distribute infrastructure. There you go. We should try to reduce the burden of building software. And this is kind of an interesting one. I'm not going to get into it all, but basically, if you have the ability to hire a bunch of people to work around the clock, um, 8 hours a day, every day for forever, then yeah, you've got to jump on, basically just your normal retail person that's buying a NFT or a blockchain or whatever. But most people don't have that. So, the software engineer that he is, hey, we need to be able to be building software that more people can understand. So when they see stuff like, one of these strings here, they can kind of understand. Oh, wait a minute! It's going to this address. I don't actually have an NFT. I don't have a digital monkey. I don't have anything other than, um, basically, it's like having the deed to your house, um, but it just has the address on there. You don't own the house. You just own the directions to get to your house, if that makes sense. So anybody can come in and kind of claim, claim ownership of the house. If it's not encrypted or anything like that, like the guy that had all his apes stolen or something like that. Same difference there. So again, this is kind of one of the reasons that Bear kind of cautions people about some of that stuff. So, anyways, kind of long story about NFTs and everything like that. But you know what? We kind of went through the frothy period last year. But if you bought Bitcoin last year at this time, it's worth exactly the amount that it was last year right now. I mean, it hasn't went up much more either way. So you really didn't, unless you were trading Bitcoin throughout the year or something like that, you really didn't make any money. Um, you had your investment go up, and then it's went back down to the floor that it's at. Ethereum, um, gosh, I don't recall what it was early last year. I think it was higher, and then it went back down in February, and then came back up, or maybe vice versa. Um, it's been up and down, but I think if I recall correctly, before the correction here, I think if you'd bought it in February, it's right back where it was again. So you really have to be in there and be at it every day as far as a day trader. Even the day traders get, holidays and weekends and evenings off. I mean, Bitcoin's 24/7. So, a lot of times it happened to do with the Asian markets, whatever happened with the Asian markets. A lot of times there would be a sell off in the Asian markets at night, and then everybody wakes up and, oh my God, where did all my Bitcoin money go? Well, went down the drain in the Asian market there. Went down the drain in Kazakhstan somewhere. So, anyways, that's what I find confusing about NFTs. You don't really own the NFT then. Um, the best way that Bear would say to use NFTs as far as a ledger system. So let's just say, I'm just going to use Mike Miller as an example here. Um, let's say Bear got some art from Mike Miller. Um, not that I would, not that I would pay thousands of dollars for Ethereum or anything like that, but let's just say I wanted to be able to prove that the drawing that I had was the actual drawing from Mike Miller. We could create I assume it's the contract, I'm not 100% certain, but you'd create conditions on the blockchain that says, yes, I created this, I gave it to, or, sold it to Bear, and he's now the true owner, and then whenever Bear sells it, the next person is the true owner of it. So if anybody tries to, make a fake copy or something like that. You can go back to the Ethereum blockchain and say, no, here it is, right here, right here. Um, all you're doing when you're buying just the digital, let's just call it the digital art for just a second. All you're doing with that is, if you're lucky, like this gentleman here, he actually created it on the blockchain, but he spent, gosh, let me go find it. It was in the thousands of dollars. Let's see. Um, At the time of this writing, over $38,000 had gone into creating this collected art piece. The one that got stolen from him by OpenSea. He spent $38,000 putting the poop emoji onto a blockchain, and then it got stolen from him. Um, even if you actually have it on the blockchain, like I said, you can get it stolen. But most of the time, it's just a link. So it's linking to usually an Amazon server somewhere. So when the Amazon server goes down, no bueno for your NFTs. If you're living in Kazakhstan and they cut the internet in Kazakhstan, no bueno on your NFTs. If you're like Bear and live in Hurricane Alley here, hurricane comes through and the electricity's cut, no bueno unless you got power, backup power, no bueno on your NFTs. So any number of those things can be broken in any way. Also, you have it where Ethereum, Bitcoin, whatever you want to call it, is basically set up in the conditions as it was way back when. Um, so as time progresses, the stuff that was new, let's say 5, 10 years ago, is now becoming out of date. So they're still trying to use the same stuff from way back when. At a certain point, people are just going to stop. There'll be, I don't know, Bitcoin 3.0, as it were, whatever it is. So everybody would migrate over to that. So the people left holding the bag in Bitcoin 1.0, it's going to be worth less because it's older technology. The technology moves along. So again, one of the things that Bear's trying to do here is trying to say, if you want to get into this space, number one, Bear would recommend you stay the heck away from it. But if you did want to get into the space, know what you're getting into. Don't just follow the gold rush, the ups and downs of the markets, whatever the price is. The price is going to be whatever the use is later on down the line. Bear kind of compares it to very early internet. You have the web page domain name for, I don't know, weather.com or something like that. It might not be worth a whole lot at that, let's say, 1992 or something like that. It might not be worth a whole lot, but in 2002, yeah, hey, it's going to be worth quite a bit because everybody's going to want to go to weather.com and you own the domain name. It's just not there yet. So a lot of people are just speculating on a whole bunch of this stuff, and I'm sure there's probably uses for Ethereum and some of that other stuff. Putting artwork on there, I'm not sure if that's the greatest use, especially if you got to spend $38,000 to put on a poop emoji, for crying out loud. So, and that's not including the gas fees and all that other crap. So, anyways, long story, very long story short. I'm glad you stuck in with us, P-Money. So, let's see. Holy cow! One bear to another. It's RT Bear. Good to see you around, Art. I need to email you sometime. We had worked a little while back on one of the videos, and if you ever needed a hand with some of the stuff that you got coming out, I need to email you back on some of that stuff. But yeah, Black and White. Everybody go check out the Black and White campaign. Looks amazing. You can check out Bear's box open of the first Black and White and all the goodies that he got. I mean, Art just kind of throws everything. I mean, everything in the kitchen sink into there. So he's doing a great job. Do check out Black and White. Do check it out. And True Art, holy cow! I'm just about to leave, and everybody comes in here. So I tell you what. So good to have you here as well. Good to have you here. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I made P Money the moderator. So hopefully he doesn't kick anybody. You're on my watch list, P Money. You got to use that with great responsibility. Good to have you here. All right. Well, yeah, we're kind of wrapping it up here, but normally we do this. I run into the problem with Art here because he runs the is it the Pontificators? He runs it at the same time that Bear runs his show, so we'll be doing it on Wednesdays, usually at about the same time. So that's all right. That's all right. Do check out Art's channel. Some good stuff over there. But we do this normally Wednesdays and Saturdays, usually about 8 o'clock here. Bear started a little bit early because he wanted to watch a hockey game, but that's all right. That's all right. It's good to have you folks here. Let's see. You're a great, Bear, and yes, we need to connect. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll stay in touch here. We'll definitely stay in touch here. Indeed, indeed. All right. Well, once again, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. You've made Bear's Day, almost the Bear's year. It's still early, so hey, you know what? It's still early. We still got an entire 360 odd days to go. So hold your breath, people. Hold your breath. All right. Once again, let's see who we got here. We got our Russian bots. We got the newly minted moderator P Money. We had Jeff Potts in here hanging out for a little bit. One of the greats of all time, RT Bear here. Great stuff. And good old True Art. And I think, did we run out of somebody? I don't know. Is Art about to run his stream this evening? I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Always riding on Bear's coattails here. Anyways, thank you everybody. Thank you to the lurkers out there. Even thank you to the Russian bots. We do appreciate your views. So if you do like the video here, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe. By the way, real quick, Bear actually has a second channel. If you go check out Barely Live, without the hyphen in there, you'll find some of the older shows that we have there. We're trying to populate that channel there, so check that out if you got some time there as well. All right, once again, thank you everybody. We will see you next time, because you know what? All this talk about Ethereum and blockchain and yada yada yada, it's made Bear hungry. So he's gonna head back into the woods. Until next time, people. Grrrrr.